Hi everybody, Joe Conkley in the shop. Today we're going to do a little review of this 1937 D-18 project that we've been looking at, sort of wrap things up. It's done, and I'm really happy with the results. As you remember, we had a pretty long list of structural stuff to do. Some bridge plate work, a number of top cracks. There's one back crack. The sides are pretty solid. Neck reset, refret, reglue the bridge, all that stuff we did. So, like I said, repaired the bridge plate, and then redid the top cracks. There were several here in this area that were glued up and cleated, nice and solid. Several here around the bridge in the lower bows. A couple big ones right here. One continued there, the standard pick guard crack at the top. Those are all glued and cleated, and some minor touch-up done to make them look right. I'll address that in a minute here when we talk about the look of the thing. We also reset the neck, refretted it, as I mentioned, reglued the bridge. One thing that I had to do on the bridge, which is fairly common these days, I had to plug and recut the string holes in the bridge pins. This has the original pins, which are non-slotted, so the slot in front of the bridge pin hole has to accommodate the whole string. And as the guitar ages, that wears and sort of ramps forward, and then as you cut the saddle down to accommodate action concerns over the years, those slots tend to ramp forward. And when I get a nice new saddle with a new saddle height after the neck reset and refret, if those slots are not filled and recut, that ramping forward from the wear creates a very steep angle from where the string leaves the bridge pin hole and rides over the saddle, and that angle can become too steep at some point. So that's one thing I did there on the bridge. The tuners also needed some just tightening and lubing. They had loosened up and were not holding a tune very well, at least a couple particular ones, but I was able to tighten them up and re-lube them and get a nice solid response from the tuners. Once all the structural work was done, I started to look at the cosmetic aspects of the instruments. The idea was to leave the original patina and as much as possible, but one thing that happens during the bridge reglue and the neck reset is that fingerboard extension gets reglued to the top. The bridge, of course, gets reglued to the top. Used hot hide glue and warm water to clean up any excess glue. That starts a process where you're already starting to clean the top, specifically right around the bridge and right around the fingerboard extension. And I noticed that there was a lot of dirt right there, and it was actually packed into those corners to the point where surrounding those areas it was pretty black, actual black or very dark brown. And so through that work I was able to get through some of that. Then once they were glued on, I put some serious work into cleaning up that dirt, and really I was able to get down to this nice golden orange color of the original finish around there. And that really made the rest of the finish and dirt on the top stand out. So I started to look at trying to, with a solvent as opposed to abrasively, clean that up. And I found that a large portion of the top had been over-finished with shellac. I use the term over-finished as opposed to oversprayed because it wasn't sprayed on. It looked like it was brushed on. There was new finish on top of the original, and it looked different from the original lacquer. And so in a couple of small areas where, obscure areas here where I wouldn't be noticed, I did some small experiments with various solvents, lacquer thinner, alcohol, various cleaners, and I discovered that the alcohol was the most effective thing to remove that over finish. And so I ended up, after trying a couple of different techniques, I ended up using a French polishing technique where I put straight alcohol on a pad with a little bit of oil, and I was able to French polish off that shellac and leave the finish with a nice low gloss, not a super shine, but like I said, a nice low gloss. And the oil allowed me to continue to pad that alcohol on and remove more finish. And it was just able to bring the whole thing together in a nice sort of similar look. So I did that really to the whole top, removing as much of that shellac as I could, and just sort of stopping at a certain point to say, this is where I'm going to stop. It's a nice even look, and go from there. Very little cleaning was needed on the back in particular, and the sides and the neck. I did some work on that, but again, just trying to minimize that and leave it with a similar looking patina. And we got it playing really great right now, and it sounds really good too. And the first time I strung it up, I was reasonably happy with the sound, but thinking there was more that it could give. And as I did those final tweaks on the look, and the tuners and such, with string tension on it over time and a little bit of playing, it starts to come alive, and it's really coming alive right now. And we're going to get our good friend Drew Howard to really show you what it sounds like here, and demonstrate the tone of the instrument. And that's it, the end of the project. A really satisfying and fun, but a lot of work project to do. It's what I love about my job, for sure. Tune in a couple of weeks here to see what we've got next up on the bench. Some other unique, cool project, I'm sure. Take care, like and share us on Facebook, and be safe out there.